Welcome back to our journey through the life of Alexander the Great. We've seen him conquer the mighty Persian Empire, a feat that etched his name into the annals of history forever. But what happens when a man conquers the world? Does he rule it, or does it rule him? This is the story of Alexander's transformation, from a brilliant general to something far more complex, something divine, or perhaps something monstrous. With Darius III vanquished and the heart of Persia in his hands, Alexander was no longer just the king of Macedon. He was the master of a vast, sprawling empire, the undisputed ruler of the known world. The power was absolute, and absolute power, as they say, has a way of changing a man. We see this change vividly in the grand cities of Babylon and Susa. The victorious Greek king, who had fought so hard to defeat the Persians, now began to embrace their ways. Imagine the scene: Alexander, draped in luxurious Persian robes, seated on a throne meant for the great king. He adopts the elaborate ceremonies of the Achaemenid court, a world away from the blunt, soldierly traditions of Macedonia. He surrounds himself with eunuchs and courtiers, demanding the kind of reverence his own father would have scoffed at. Most controversially, he introduces the custom of *proskinesis*, the act of bowing or prostrating oneself before the king. To the Persians, this was a sign of respect for a ruler. But to the fiercely proud Greeks and Macedonians, this was an act reserved for the gods alone. To bow before a mortal man, even their king, was an unthinkable blasphemy. You can almost hear the whispers echoing through the ranks. The veterans, men who had bled for Alexander from Granicus to Gogmela, looked at him and saw not their comrade in arms, but an Oriental despot. They started to wonder, was their king becoming the very thing they had fought to destroy? Some of his men, particularly the younger soldiers who had known nothing but victory under his command, were swept up in the awe of it all. They saw a leader ascending to godhood, a living legend walking among them. But for the old guard, the generals who had served his father, Philip II, this was a betrayal of everything they stood for. This growing rift between Alexander and his most loyal commanders would become a festering wound in the heart of his army. But was this just a case of a young man drunk on power? Or was there a grander vision at play? Alexander wasn't just interested in ruling, he wanted to remake the world. His goal was nothing short of uniting East and West, to fuse the cultures of Greece and Persia into a single, cohesive empire. He called this concept *homonoia*, a harmony or oneness of mind. It was a revolutionary idea, an early blueprint for a globalized world. To achieve this, he took a step that was both politically brilliant and personally significant. In the remote and rugged region of Bactria, modern-day Afghanistan, he married Roxana, the beautiful daughter of a local chieftain. It wasn't just a political alliance. By all accounts, Alexander was genuinely captivated by her. More than that, he actively encouraged his soldiers and officers to follow his example. He organized a mass wedding at Susa, where 10,000 of his men took Persian wives. For the first time in history, the bloodlines of Europe and Asia were intentionally mingled on a massive scale, all under the banner of a single empire. He founded new cities, all named Alexandria, from Egypt to the edge of India. These weren't just military outposts, they were designed to be melting pots of culture, centers of Greek language, philosophy, and art, but also open to local traditions and people. He was trying to build bridges, not just conquer lands. He saw a future where Greek and Persian were not conqueror and conquered, but partners in a new world order. This vision, however noble, did little to soothe the anger of his Macedonian veterans. They saw these policies as a dilution of their own identity, a betrayal of their superiority. The resentment brewed, and soon it would boil over. One of the most tragic episodes from this period involves Cletus the Black, the man who had saved Alexander's life at the Battle of the Granicus. During a drunken banquet, fueled by wine and simmering tensions, Cletus openly mocked Alexander for adopting Persian customs and disowning his father, Philip, in favor of being called the son of Zeus. The argument escalated into a furious shouting match. In a fit of uncontrollable rage, Alexander snatched a spear and ran Cletus through, killing his friend and savior on the spot. The instant the deed was done, the rage vanished, replaced by a devastating wave of grief and remorse. Alexander was inconsolable. He locked himself in his tent for days, refusing to eat or drink, weeping over the body of the man he had murdered. It took the pleading of his closest advisors to bring him back from the brink of despair. This horrifying event was a stark reminder of the man Alexander was becoming, a brilliant visionary. Yes, but also a paranoid tyrant, whose wrath was now as legendary as his genius. The paranoia only deepened. Philotas, the son of his most trusted general, Parmenion, was accused of conspiring against the king. Under torture, he confessed and was executed. But Alexander's fear didn't stop there. Fearing that the father would seek revenge for the son, he sent assassins to murder Parmenion, the old general who had served both him and his father with unwavering loyalty. He was killed without a trial, without even being told of the charges against his son. The message was clear: no one was safe. Questioning the king, even in thought, could be a death sentence. The man once celebrated for his charisma and camaraderie was now feared for his unpredictable temper. The loyalty that had bound his army together was crumbling, replaced by fear and suspicion. Yet, even as his inner circle fractured, Alexander's ambition remained limitless. His gaze turned eastward once more, towards the mysterious and uncharted lands beyond the Hindu Kush mountains, the lands of India. He had heard tales of incredible wealth, of strange beasts, and of powerful kingdoms that had never bowed to a foreign ruler. For Alexander, this was the ultimate challenge. He wasn't just chasing victory anymore. He was chasing the edge of the world, chasing a legacy that would echo through eternity. He was chasing immortality itself, leading his weary but still loyal army into the treacherous terrain of Central Asia and India. He would face enemies and obstacles unlike any he had ever known. Fierce warrior tribes, impenetrable jungles, monsoon rains that turned the land into a swamp, and war elephants that struck terror into the hearts of his bravest soldiers. This final campaign would push Alexander and his men to the absolute limits of human endurance. The GodKing was on his final, most desperate quest, and the cost of his divine ambition was beginning to show on his own mind and body. The journey into India would be the crucible that would either forge his legend into its final, immortal shape, or break him completely. Thank you so much for watching this chapter in the incredible story of Alexander the Great. What do you think drove him to these extremes? Was it a grand vision or pure ego? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're enjoying this series, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss the final, dramatic conclusion to his life. We'll see you next time.